Well, well, well. It's your boy Vega Bomber, and I'm back once again. And now, well, you know what's about to happen. We got to get all excited, right? Because the Infinity War is coming at the end of this month. Can you believe it? We're already in April 2018. The first quarter is already gone, and here we go. We're marching on. And you know what? That's okay, because they had a pretty good start, because Black Panther tore it up in February and March for us, so that's awesome. So now that we're in April, it's time for the Infinity Wars to go ahead and take over. Well, I had another topic in mind, but actually I got the idea from my boy Ryan O'Toole, who, if you haven't subscribed to his channel, please go ahead and do that. Ryan's a good guy. He puts out some really good content. He sees a lot of movies, and he's always talking about them, so that's good, right? So the idea that Ryan did on his channel that I'm going to now hijack, if you will, or do my version of it, do the Vega Bomber version of it, is talk about the top 23 superheroes that you're going to see in this movie. Like, rank them. Say, who's your favorite superhero out of all the Marvel MCU movies? And basically, because this movie's coming up, and you're going to have all your favorite heroes doing some cool things. So, it's a list. Who doesn't like lists? It's a ranking. Who doesn't like ranking? Who doesn't like lists that rank things? There you go. And so this, let me tell you real quickly, is set up by... Well, let me tell you what my criteria is first. My criteria for this list is not necessarily that they were in great movies, but just the character themselves. What is it that I like about this character? Probably more so than the movie. Now, for some of them, it will be where they are on the list, will be because of their movie, and their movie was pretty good. But for the most part, this is going to be character-driven. So now you know that's my criteria for these. So let me get started. So if there's 23... superheroes then that are going to be in this film, or 24, somewhere in there, if you count Gamora's sister and then that other chick with the antennas or whatever, antennae. But I'm just going to say 23 because that's what Ryan did, so I'm going to go with that. So at number 23, and 23 is the worst going to the best, and not necessarily, not so, and it's really not so much that they're the worst character, it's just that I'm just not as interested compared to interested. So in 23, the 23 superhero would be Quicksilver, which kind of matches Ryan on that one. But yeah, Quicksilver was introduced in the Age of Ultron, dies a death, has superpowers, he can run fast. Not even the best version of Quicksilver. X-Men had it better. I think most people would agree to that. And really, he died. He's like the only Marvel superhero that died, unless maybe somebody's going to die in Infinity War. But either way, Quicksilver, not very interesting, didn't get to know him long enough, just kind of didn't care. Number 22 is Falcon. Yes, Falcon. Are you surprised? Now, my thing with Falcon is I don't really care for the character or his powers. I mean, he just flies around with a jetpack. That's it. He's in the military. And he's pretty much just Captain America's lackey, you know. He's his sidekick. So I'm not really into sidekicks that much. I like the lead guy the most. So, sorry, Falcon. I know there's some fans out there that like you. But, and Anthony Mackie is a good actor, but I just don't care for Falcon. And at 21 is Gamora, played by Zoe Saldana. Again, this is not so much about her performance or anything like that. It's just, it's Guardians of the Galaxy. Before that movie even came out, did anybody know any of those characters really? I vaguely knew them, and that was just because they were in an episode of Earth's Mightiest Heroes. And they were just okay. They weren't great, and so Gamora, she's not that interesting to me. She's just another cold, ice-hearted killer that happens to be a female, and that seems to be a lot of that. The no emotional, hardcore woman who just kills things. I've already seen that enough. Kind of bored. Number 20, Yondu. Although I will say he did better in the, I think, in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I liked Yondu a lot better. In the first one, he was just okay. Second one, they gave him some story, some arc, some depth, so I kind of liked him a little better. But still, the Guardians of the Galaxy, they're okay. They're not my favorite. I do like some of them, but just not these Guardians, and certainly not of that galaxy. At number 19 is, oh man, I'm going to hear it now, AntMan. I just do not care for AntMan. First of all, those powers are silly. I mean, okay, you're a shapeshifter. You can shrink up and shrink down. You can be Giant Man, or you can just be Ant-Man. But the character in the comic books really wasn't that cool. I mean, he actually was a domestic abuser of Wasp. So I really didn't like him too much. And so seeing his character translate over, sure, Paul Rudd's a great actor and he's a fun guy. And so it's not anything to do with Paul Rudd's portrayal. It's just that, to me, come on, it's Ant-Man. Even they make fun of it themselves in the movie. So Ant-Man, not so much. 18 is Black Widow. That's right. Another one I just am not interested in at all. Black Widow, Gamora, same person, really. Not that much difference, except for Gamora's actually got superpowers, which is my thing with Black Widow. She's just not interesting. When she was interesting, it was in the Age of Ultron. You know, you start to learn a little bit more about her. She started to open up a little bit, get a little vulnerable, and that was kind of cool. But to me, she's running around with all these superpowered guys, and she can hang with them. No, I'm sorry. She's just a human being that's a spy. She's been trained as a spy. That shouldn't make her, you know, somebody who doesn't get injured or hurt very often. Like, you know, Hawkeye at least gets injured, but not Black Widow. She seems to have plot armor almost all the time. So I can't get into it. 17 is, well, I already mentioned it, Hawkeye. So Hawkeye, once again, a guy just with a bow and arrow, not very interesting. I do like the actor Jeremy Renner, so it's certainly not his fault. It's just, you know, there's only so much you can really do with somebody who's just shooting bow and arrows. Now, that's not to say that DC's Arrow show wasn't pretty good and they did some inventive things. They did. But at this point, we're just talking about Hawkeye and we're talking about the MCU. And really, in terms of power, in terms of how he fits on the team, and really his major impact, especially in something like Infinity War, it's not going to be that great. Unless, of course, he's one of those who dies in the film. You know, and it would make sense. I mean, he's not really superpowered, right? He'd just be like another soldier who got wounded in battle. Number 16 is Doctor Strange. Here's another one that I just didn't really care for. Most of it's because of the comic books. If the comic book didn't tell me a story that made me care about you, then I probably didn't care to see the movie either. Now, his movie was fine. It was just basically Inception, but with superheroes in it. It's nothing wrong with Benedict Cumberbatch. I wouldn't say that there's anything really wrong here. It's just, again, it's about my level of interest. And I just don't find Doctor Strange that interesting. In fact, you don't really need all the other Avengers to beat Thanos. You just need Doctor Strange to open up a time portal and suck, Thanos through it. Game over. But I'm pretty sure they know that he's so OP, then they'll try to work something around it where he's actually in peril first. But to me, yeah, Doctor Strange, Number 15 is Scarlet Witch. Now, to me, a lot more interesting than her brother. Really more so, it's just that she has these unique powers. Outside of that, I can't really say much about Wanda Maximoff. She's treated okay in the comics, I guess, and of course, true to the comics, they had her fall in love with Vision and all that. So, I mean, there's some interest there, but just not a whole lot. But at least to me, for whatever reason, I like her better than Black Widow and Gamora. I think it's probably because, you know, she likes Vision. She's doing something interesting. She's fallen in love with an android. She's lost her brother, and so maybe she's going to use this relationship with him, Vision, that is, to kind of help her deal with that non-pain we've ever seen for her brother Quicksilver, which is kind of interesting, but, you know, movies, right? Number 14 is Rocket Raccoon. Yes, Guardians of the Galaxy came out. He's voiced by Bradley Cooper. He was a tenacious rodent, or whatever you want to call him. But again, not really that interested in him. Just don't see him as all that. And I get why some people do, but to me, he's just an Ewok with machine guns, and that's what people like about him. And I know that's going to get me a lot of hate, but I'm sorry, guys. I just don't like Rocket Raccoon that much. He's fine. I don't hate him, but At number 13 is Drax, another Guardian of the Galaxy. So Drax is supposed to be a destroyer, but now he's a comedian. And again, that's the one thing that I really don't like is from Marvel. It's Marvel's fault, really. They turn all their characters, all their leading men, into jokesters. I mean, every last one of them are funny. And if you notice, all the women are serious in the movies, right? Black Widow, Gamora, list them all. They're all serious. So the women are serious and the men have to all be clowns. I'm not interested in that, especially somebody like David Bautista. Now, I know they wanted to make the character interesting, but to me, your name is Destroyer. I wouldn't be afraid of him destroying me. I wish he would start. You know what? Come on, Drax, bring it on. I wish he would start some mess. I wish he would. Yeah, see what I mean? Doesn't scare me. At number 12 is StarLord. So once again, this is probably because I like Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt is the everyday man who's made it, and I love the fact that he's doing StarLord. And StarLord is that quippy guy that says dumb stuff while thinking he's actually smart and got a point and has thought things through. So he's okay. I like StarLord fine. I mean, he's certainly not as bad as Quicksilver, but he could carry a movie. I could see a movie with him in it as just the lead without the rest of the Guardians, because that character you could do stuff with. I think you could go really dig into the fact that his family and all that stuff, and I think he would just be interesting. That's all I can really say about StarLord. And at number 11 is the Winter Soldier. Now, never was interested in the Winter Soldier in the comic books. Didn't really care. Again, just a sidekick of Captain America. But in the movie, they gave him some significance, some prominence. And the way he was realized in the movies was pretty good. And what a dilemma. Somebody that's a cold-blooded killer, an assassin, but mind controlled by the wrong people, just has no remorse to just taking people out. So that's kind of interesting. That's intriguing. But not good enough to be in my top 10, but yeah, I'll give Winter Soldier some props. Yep, I'll do that. And now we're looking at the top 10, ladies and gentlemen, so let me just jump right into that. Number 10, I almost forgot him, Nick Fury. Nick Fury gets in there only because really Samuel Jackson has this character down. This is basically Samuel Jackson playing Samuel Jackson. He's good at being that stern, serious, black guy that has a chip on his shoulder. So this fits him. This is his role. You can't imagine anybody else being Nick Fury at this point. So I give him props. And, he helped put this team together. He was there. He had the foresight, or at least the writers gave him the foresight to be there early on. And so I'll give him number 10. Yeah, Nick Fury. We'll go 10 with that. Number 9 is the Hulk. Now, I liked Hulk better before I saw him in Thor Ragnarok. I just don't think Hulk plays well as a comedic character. I don't want to see the Hulk joking around. You shouldn't be. Somebody that is that mad, that angry, and can turn into that powerful of a being. I just don't want to see him joking around. I mean, that's for kids. I mean, to me, Hulk wouldn't be for kids. In real life, kids would be afraid of the Hulk. Regular people would be afraid of the Hulk. So, to me, I don't know that I like the turn to switch him into trying to be a comedian, just like Marvel, we're doing with all of them. But Hulk, originally, I liked him, and I thought Edward Norton's Hulk was not bad. I thought it was, pretty good. At least the storyline in that movie. I thought Hulk. In fact, the movie Hulk, I think, is very underrated out of all the MCU movies, and I think it's better than some of these ones that we've kind of overrated. So Hulk at number 9, folks. At number 8 is SpiderMan. SpiderMan does whatever a spider can. Yeah, as a teenager and as a kid, I loved Spider-Man more because, the relatability thing. And actually, I think I even had a Halloween costume that I went as Spider-Man several times. But he was the only hero you could get on TV after a while at some point. And then we got the Hulk later on at night and stuff like that. But Tom Holland, let's get to the MCU version, does a great job. Who can complain about the job he's doing as Peter Parker and Spider-Man? I think he's a natural fit. I think he plays both sides of that coin well in terms of being Peter Parker and then, of course, being the Spider-Man himself. So I give him props. It works. And number 7 is War Machine. Yeah, War Machine. Now, see, the thing here is War Machine's in my top 10. Even though he's a sidekick to Tony, I do like Don Cheadle. And I like what he brings to this character over the original guy, and I forget his name, Terrence Howard. Yeah, Terrence Howard. So I like him. I think this is a good move. In terms of the movie, it brought more attention to him in terms of Civil War, him now having legs that are crippled, and so I want to see what happens to him. I want to see him get his legs back underneath him, as the pun goes, and I want to see him become a better superhero now that he knows what it's like to not have legs and then get the power of his legs back again. I'd like to see him have this rebirth, and I'd like to see him be a little bit more powerful. And of course, if Iron Man gets killed in the Infinity War, then he can be our new Iron Man, if you will. And it'd be great to see him come back from injury. I mean, don't we always want to see these people who rehab and come back? We do it all the time with sports players. Number 6 is Thor. That's right, Thor. Now, Thor, I've always found interesting. He's not somebody I went and bought a lot of his comic books when I was a kid, but I always thought the idea of Thor was pretty good. I thought the look was good, a Norse god, this sort of thing. Just him having that battle warrior heart. I love that. He's like King Leonidas. So I've always liked that about Thor. In fact, my favorite parts about Thor is actually in the first Thor movie when he went there to attack the Frost Giants and was starting some mess with the Frost Giants. I like it when Thor was assertive and aggressive because I think that's what a Norse god would be. I do not like jokey Thor. But that be that case still, even though I don't like Ragnarok that much, I still have Thor at 6, mainly because of the body of work that Chris Hemsworth has put in, and at least they started the character right, even though I don't agree with where he's going now. I just don't. Now we're into the top 5, ladies and gentlemen. Let me put my hand over here. The top 5. So in the top 5, I have Groot. Yes. Now, see, you thought I hated all the Guardians of the Galaxy folks, didn't you? Just because I put them more in the middle of the pack. But no, I like Groot. And Groot's at number 5, mainly because of his portrayal in the first one, not the second Guardians of the Galaxy, which I did not care for that much. But the first one, I thought his sacrifice for his friends, for the Guardians, says it all. Anybody that's willing to sacrifice themselves and they do it without being coerced and they want to do it has a good heart. And not only do you need that warrior spirit like Thor, I also like to see the good heart in somebody too that would do that would put their friends above themselves. So Groot won me over easily with that. And hey, it's being voiced by Vin Diesel. Can't be that worse, right? Number 4. This character is number 4 because I'm so interested because we know a little bit, but not as much as we could, and that is Vision. Vision could go so many directions here. If he tries to be the android that wants to be more human, you could play up that whole thing. It looks like they were kind of doing that in the trailer of the Infinity War. So I like Vision. He also has this super power. He's super powerful as this android, and being able to change his density and float through walls, and has that beam that he can shoot this blast from his forehead. I mean, he's powerful, and I really like that. And then he's super smart. So Vision is this great balance of being highly intellectual, but also powerful at the same time. He's not just some book nerd. He can go in there and he can flip the script on you real quick. So I like that, and I'd love to see more of Vision. And so because of the intrigue in Vision and his power levels and everything else, yeah, I want to know more about him, so I have him at number 4. Okay, here we go. Big 3 time. My top 3 superheroes. You guys can guess who they are, but do you know the order? You might not. At number 3 is Iron Man. Okay, yes, Iron Man. Now, really, I love Tony Stark. He kicked this whole thing off in 2008, but not just that. Tony has the most complete arc out of all the superheroes because he starts off and he's kind of douchey. He's this entitled, spoiled brat, rich kid, smart guy, smart aleck, right? Rich playboy billionaire philanthropist, right? Who doesn't really care about anybody, just as long as he keeps himself busy and as long as it makes him look good, right? Which we saw in the second one. So, in fact, all his movies kind of tank. The first one's the best one. The second one is and the third one is But then Civil War, I like that Tony Stark, the one that has gone through PTSD, all the crazy shenanigans, and then just really the Avengers is his family. He just wants a family because we saw Winter Soldier snuffed out his mom and his dad. He has no other family. His only family would be the Avengers, and so you can see why in Civil War he wanted to keep them together. Plus, Robert Downey Jr.'s acting in Civil War was, I would say, Oscar nominee worthy because he played the turmoil, the tension, the anger, the frustration, the hurt well when he found out that Winter Soldier snuffed out his parents. So, Tony, you're all the way up there. You're at number 3. And by the way, I was Team Cap, then I was Team Iron Man, and I think I kind of stayed Team Iron Man, but that's a whole nother story. So, number 2. Number 2, you might have these last 2 figured out, but number 2 for me is Captain America. Yes, I used to love Captain America as a kid, but really, he's a patriot, man. He's a guy who does well, and I like to see the do-gooders. I hate it when people go, oh, he's too goody two-shoes. He's too goody two. No, you want men like him, a guy who will stand up, who will take up for his friends, who will give his life. I mean, he's the standard dude that you want to be. He's the kind of guy you want to be, and he's the kind of guy that women are safe with, that women want to marry. I mean, Captain America is the dude, right? And I love he has this high moral ethic, and I love the fact that he's faithful, man. He's loyal. He's simple, but he's loyal, right? He may not be as smart as Tony Stark is, but Captain America is his own man, and he stands by his convictions. And more often than not, he's on the right side of things, and you got to like that. And he will put himself out there. So Cap, that's right. Big up on my man Caps. So y'all know who number one is. Without further ado, y'all know. I've been waiting for this forever. Black Panther. That is right. So why the Black Panther? Well, you know, I was very interested in this character because for the first time, Black Panther was not the stereotype of the African American. He wasn't living in the hood. No, he's rich. He wasn't uneducated because he lived in the hood with his poor education. No, he was educated in Oxford in physics, right? So he was the complete opposite of the stereotypical black man. But more than that, Black Panther, his powers, the kingdom, he's a king, he's royalty, right? Who also wants to make sure that he keeps Wakanda safe, for sure, in the comic books. And that's the only reason why he went out to join the Avengers, and which was to keep an eye to see would the Avengers be a threat if they decided to come to Wakanda one day. That's the reason why he joined them originally, and then eventually he became one of them. But yeah, he's isolationist. He was a standoffish at first, but that's the way they've always been. But he was willing, though, to at least consider, like Black Panther, as you saw in Civil War. He was smart. He said, I'm not going to let vengeance consume me like it's consuming them, right? He's able to course correct when he sees that he's going down a path that isn't working. So he's an intelligent superhero that's also very powerful. And then you throw on that vibranium suit, and he's dang near unbeatable. So I love this guy. I love who he is. Like Cap, he's a do-gooder. He's a guy that will do the right thing. He will sacrifice. And unlike Cap, if he pulls those claws out and you're on the other end of it and you're definitely in the wrong, Black Panther does not have a problem terminating you. And so, I don't know. I mean, I kind of like it. You know, he's a bad boy, but a good boy, and it's kind of mixed in there, right? You might say he's bad in that, a bad boy in that, man, when he's after you and he's tracking you, you're done if you're in the wrong, you know. But at the same time, he's fair. You know, he saw Killmonger. He understood that it was wrong for Killmonger to be left there to fend for himself as a kid, that when his dad killed his brother and left his cousin just out there to fend for himself. See, he knew that was wrong. And that was the reason why he stepped up and let Killmonger have a shot at the throne. He didn't have to. He could have shut that down and was starting to, but he understood. And so here you go. You got this guy who can sympathize even with villains, but he'll do the smart thing and he'll do the right thing. So that's T'Challa. That's the Black Panther. And that, to me, is why he's number one out of all of them. And I'm so glad that his movie has done so great, because really, he really is one of the best and brightest stars that you would see in the sky in the Marvel Universe. Black Panther, my man. Wakanda forever! You know I was going to do that. Anyway, let me see your list. And Ryan, thanks again for the idea to do this, and thanks again for letting me kind of invade and take a little bit of it and then kind of put it on my channel and do the same thing. I know we're all just sharing ideas anyway. So big ups to you, Ryan, and congrats to you. And also to you, Sean Chandler, when you get a chance, when you've seen this, big ups to you as well, brother. All right, guys, it's your boy Vega Bomber. I'm out. I'll meet you in the comment section. Or should I go, see, I'm hitting myself in the face. That's not good.